Happy lunch hour, guys. Saturday afternoon coming up here, and hope y'all are enjoying a nice day. So, we've talked many times about all the changes and stupid things and everything like that that's coming up. So, how many of you guys have seen this when you go online to check your bank account, your credit card statement, whatever, and there's a banner on there that says, please confirm your monthly expenses as these values affect which cards and loans you qualify for? I know I see them. Okay. Why are they doing that? Well, with the economy is the way it is, banks are starting to look at reducing their risk. In other words, gee, you have a credit card and your limit is $3,000. You know what? We don't want you to go that far. We're going to reduce your limit to $1,000. Talked a lot about people not being able to afford groceries or gasoline or whatever it is, and they're putting it on credit, right? If you don't think that the banks see that and they go, we're taking this risk, we don't want to risk losing money. Yeah, that's what's going on. All right. So just, again, this goes back into saying all the time, pay off your debts, get yourself on solid ground. Okay. There was an interesting comment that was made by New Hampshire State Representative J.D. Bernardi. Okay. He said they can't pass the Green New Deal in the United States Congress, but the banks certainly can implement it. The major banks and financial management firms and insurance companies are de facto deciding how we are able to live. They are becoming our new legislatures. Now, that's very true. You know, Congress can't decide, you know, Congress is incompetent anyway, but can't, fix how we're going to do anything about inflation. So the banks are going to do it. There's a problem with this, all right? I'm going to give you this. Justin Haskin, who is the director of the Heartland Institute, which is a free market think tank, okay? This is what he said. He goes, I think it's highly likely that within the next 2 years, you're going to see financial institutions use a personalized social credit score of some kind to make decisions about things like how you access loans, your interest rate, and whether you're eligible for insurance coverage. Now, let's think about this for a second. You can't drive your car legally without car insurance. But if the insurance company says, we're not insuring you because your social credit score, you can't get a mortgage unless you have homeowner's insurance. Until the insurance company says, we don't like your social credit score, we're not going to give you insurance. Qualify for the mortgage financially, no problem, but because of your social credit score, sorry, can't get the house. So I talk about Congress, and I say, well, Congress is incompetent. Let's take a look at the CEOs of the major banks, okay, where most of the money is. Jamie Dimon, everybody knows him, CEO of JP Morgan Chase, okay? Quote, my heart is Democratic, but my brain is kind of Republican. That's as close as we get. James Gorman, CEO of Morgan Stanley, Democrat. He supports Michael Bloomberg, okay? Lloyd Blankfein, Goldman Sachs, hardcore Democrat. Brian Moynihan, Bank of America, hardcore Democrat. Joe Hooley, State Street, Democrat. Jane Fraser, Citigroup, Democrat. Larry Fink, you guys know him, BlackRock, hardcore Democrat. Gee, where the majority of the money is in the United States is run by liberals, okay? Liberals are the ones that want this stupid social credit score, all right? Now, while the U.S. financial companies have not come anywhere close to doing something so brazen yet to say, sorry, we don't like the fact that you drive a gas car and therefore we're not going to give you home insurance, they have started to selectively deny banking services, payment services, whatever, to groups or individuals they don't like. Okay, think I'm kidding? All right, here's some examples. Remember any of these? Chase Bank closing the bank accounts of Michael Flynn because They didn't like his reputation. How about Wells Fargo making a decision to stop doing business with Republican Senate candidate Lauren Witzke? Remember that one? JP Morgan's subsidiary of WePay canceling payment services for conservative fundraisers. Remember GoFundMe blocking the contributions for the Canadian truckers? How about Bank of America? Remember them mining the public data of thousands of personal accounts to see who had traveled to Washington, D.C. or had purchased firearms around January 6th? Remember that one? How about Obama's reign of terror? Yeah. He ordered the FDIC to implement Operation Checkpoint. Remember this one? Okay. That forced banks to stop lending to firearms retailers, telling the banks that loans would be considered high risk by regulators. Now, Trump canceled it. Okay. Said, that's done. But in Biden's first week in office, he reinstated it. And worse, he included other industries such as telling the banks to reduce credit lines to fossil fuel companies. You wonder where your gas prices are up. How about the SEC's announcement just in March that all publicly traded companies must soon deliver reports on their greenhouse gas emissions and climate risks? It's got to be part of your annual report, okay? So I'm talking about the banks, and I know we'll have a whole bunch of people, if they got this far before they're making the comments. I always love when people make the comments and say, you didn't say this. Listen 30 seconds later, and there it is. But think you're safe with a credit union? Nope. Okay. Todd Harper, chairman of the regulatory agency NCUA, okay, stated that, quote, a credit union's field of membership is often tied to a business like an oil refinery or a community linked close to farming. Think about, there's ones here, teachers credit union or whatever it would be. Okay. Such credit unions will need to consider adjusting their membership or altering lending portfolios to reduce the impact of climate change. So no, you aren't safe in a credit union. Okay, simple as that. So yes, the banks are all in when it comes to a social credit score, which I find funny because for an industry that was built on capitalism, it sure seems like they're going full-blown communist. Okay. Now, why are they doing this? Well, this has been going on for quite some time, guys, and nobody's really paid attention to it. And it ain't just the banking industry. Think about it. Let's go back to March of 2020 and everything that was going on then. We had lockdowns like crazy, right? Now, the corner hardware stores, they were forced to shut down. Home Depot and Lowe's, they were allowed to stay open. The malls have basically all gone out of business, okay, because they can't compete with Amazon and Walmart. The corner grocery stores, the little IGAs, they've been decimated because you've got a monopoly of a few huge grocery stores. This was all put into play during the pandemic, all right? Shut down the small businesses and consider the behemoth companies as essential. The problem is 50% of our GDP and 50% of our employment in the United States came from small businesses, okay? A lot of them never came back. And now we have the behemoths that are mostly fully on board with all this woke idealism and this social credit score crap, all right? Now, let's take this further. You'll love these videos. On May 24th, so 2 months ago, at the World Economic Forum, J. Michael Evans, who's the president of Alibaba, that Chinese technology firm, they announced the company is developing an individual carbon footprint tracker. Quote, we are developing through technology an ability for consumers to measure their own carbon footprint. The program would collect data on individuals about where they are traveling, how they are traveling, what they are eating, and what they are consuming. Now, to me, the interesting part of this quote is where he says, an ability for consumers to measure, but then goes on to say, The program would collect data on individuals. Does anybody in their right mind think that this is not for the consumer to measure their own, but this is for Big Brother to see what you've done? Yeah, it's right there in black and white. It came straight out of his mouth, okay? The World Economic Forum's also touted companies like climate tech startup Doconomy, okay, which working with MasterCard in partnership with MasterCard has developed a credit card that can track the carbon footprint of all your purchases, your food, your travel, and cuts off your spending when you've hit a certain personal emissions limit. Imagine going into the store. I'm sorry, Mrs. Jones, you've purchased your monthly allotment of beef. Your card will not allow you to buy anymore. Can I interest you in some crickets? This is what's coming, guys. Okay. So let's go even further with this social credit score crap. You ever taken an Uber? Ever rented an Airbnb? Ever reviewed a company on Yelp? You know, those 5-star ratings that everybody wants? Can you see those being used against you? That's exactly what this is. Your neighbor can now rate you on how you mow your lawn. Hell, did you use a gas-powered mower? An electric one? A push mower? Oops, your score just dropped. Road rage. Somebody just passed you going 60 in a 55 zone. Someone didn't signal for a turn. Someone took your parking spot. Get the license plate. 1-star rating. Oops, your score dropped. How about YouTube? Somebody doesn't like a comment, doesn't like your video. Oops, your score dropped. You know, a few years back, if you remember this one, employers were demanding that employees give their passwords to their social media accounts so they could monitor your posts. This was an employee, this was an applicant. We want to go check out your Facebook profile. We want to see what you said. Remember that? Okay. It was eventually made illegal, but there were plenty of times that companies got away with it. How many people didn't get hired? How many people didn't get promoted? How many people got fired? Okay. Sorry, we're not hiring you because you posted something contradictory to our stance on that issue. You're pro-2A, you're pro-life. Oops, sorry, didn't work. Okay. We all know China's been implementing this for years now, right? Okay. Now remember, this is communist China, all right? Things like this, albeit not technology-based, have been prevalent in the world forever. Think of Nazi Germany. Think of the Soviet Union. Think of Saddam Hussein's Iraq. Hell, you don't agree, right? Many others. I mean, Pol Pot, pick one. Go anywhere you want, right? What do they all have in common? Totalitarianism, guys. Simple as that. By definition, the purpose of a social credit system is to socially engineer acceptable behaviors, right? To promote good conduct, to control a society based on the norms and values governing its system. Note the words control a society. That's my favorite part of it. Who the hell gave anybody the authority to control you? All right? In the U.S., at least, we have the rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness written in black and white in the Declaration of Independence. Okay? In other words, I'm allowed to live life as I see fit. I'm allowed to be free, and I'm allowed to chase the American dream however I define it. Done. All right? Simple as that. This is where it gets scary. As of today, not one single state has passed legislation that protects individuals against a personal social credit score. Why? Well, it's pretty simple. Because the people that write the laws, federal laws, state laws, whatever, think they're above all of this. So it doesn't matter to them. They're supposed to represent you. They don't. Just a little tip there, okay? They're only concerned with their own power. So I'll tell you what, on this beautiful Saturday afternoon, this is what I think everybody should do. Get in your big 8-cylinder gas-guzzling truck, go to the store, buy a couple of juicy steaks and barbecue it over an open fire. Blast some good music so they can hear it in the next county. Flip the bird to the guy driving down your street too fast and go let your dog shit on the lawn at City Hall. Enjoy Saturday. Pinball out.